It's Wednesday, November 3rd. It's going to be interesting. See what happens. Anyway, in theory, if you look at the little timer thing, I think it's in that corner, it's probably going to be a longer-ish video because we're going to maybe get all the way to page 130. Fingers crossed, we may get all the way to like kids not having homework. We'll see what happens. Because as we get to like the big stuff that's going to start happening today. We have a little bit of discussion thing to get to before that, and I'm not wrong, I mean you can't feel this on the video, but I believe it is winter time out, and I think they just turned on the air conditioning, because it feels like it's getting colder in here. And I'm like,
no way!
Things might be a little off.
No, I'm kidding. It's summer.
See, page 130 is due Friday. Hopefully, if you're watching this video, we're going to get you really close to it to give you as little homework as possible. You will need iPad tomorrow because the 7th grade English assessment thing, which is for a grade, is going to be on your iPad. You do not get to use any handouts on it. It is just you and your brain. But again, if you've been here this year, I'm not super worried about how poorly. I think you'll do fine. And then my goal is to give you the rest of the time if we've not gotten to page 130 to read, or we're going to get the homework I'll be assigning you in a moment, or if you have other stuff to work on tomorrow, that's fine with me too. And then Friday, we're going to get to quiz thing. Although our homework I'm going to explain in a moment is a little bit different. I'm trying something new.
This Friday or next Friday? It's a reading
Skills 1, these kids, again, we're slowly getting down to those children. Tomorrow, again, if I'm down to 3 kids, then I get to have you over here in Struggle Town. If not, I get to keep charging you the B points each day. Alright, open up iPad. You are going to want to look at it because you might have questions, and it's better to ask questions now than asking questions later. Yes, that's how we ask questions. Hi, Jaylee.
My name's James McDowell.
Did you want to go charge it? That's fine. You want to give it to me, or do you want to take it to the library? That's fine. You can take it to the library, and I'm fine with that too. To the rest of you who didn't just now realize that your iPad is dead, go to my Canvassy page thing, and then from there you're going to go clicky-clicky on Wednesday, and then find the one that says the Shadow Collab homework, and then I'm going to walk you through and do an explaining thing to help you out. And if you don't have iPad, that's fine. It just means you'll have to use my picturing thing.
It's locked. It said it's locked.
One moment, home children. Let me see what's going on. Turns out the kids were all insane. It was perfectly working the entire time. That they were just wrong. It was definitely not a me issue.
Cap with some rep.
Totally no cap.
Cap on top of my water bottle. You're capping.
So, taking a look at it, there's a couple little bitty things I'm going to explain on this. One, it is going to be your basic kind of homework. There's 12 questions. You're just going to be responding with answers. One part of it is you get to skip 2 questions. So there's 12 questions. Again, things I would have liked to have done when I was a kid, I now get to let you guys do that I'm a teacher. And I would have liked to have had questions where I could skip them. And so the answer is you can skip them. So of the 12, 2 of them you can just skip. You just have to put the numbers that you do and then write your sentence. I'm looking for complete sentences on them. So that's what I'm looking for. It's not due until Monday again. So it's due Monday at midnight. I see you, Skis. I'm ignoring you. Down, Tiger. And so it'll be connected to going through there, answering those, and that'll help you out. Again, if you don't turn it in on time, then cost you B points. Hi, Skis.
Should we get extra credit if we do all 12?
Yeah, I'll do that. Sure. If you do all 12, then I will give you the extra points on that one too. I know it is so much. It's 10 whole sentences.
That's a lot. That's a lot for me.
I agree. That is a lot. Probably the best solution should be just going ahead and dropping out of school now and giving up.
Yes, thank God.
You have my full support as that future option.
You should never support that.
Abdul?
I already have an offer for...
Sorry, I have kids who keep trying to get rid of the points. Go ahead. It doesn't sound like me. I never make mistakes.
There's 9 and then 0 and 1, 2.
Yeah.
That's cool. Where?
Yeah, on 12.
I'm just going to go more time at
And 10.
On 12?
On 10, 12. No, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah. It says on 0, 1.
It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, 1, 2.
It's not on your screen.
It's because on your guy, it's not a typo. It's for some reason, it got shifted for some reason. So They're there, and just for some reason Canvas ate them because I took a screenshot of it on mine, and it has 10, 11, 12.
No,
so.
they're capping it because look, it shows it right here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so it's on theirs too. So that's a you issue, not a me issue.
How did
Woohoo!
Canvas start eating stuff?
I bet.
Quad.
Wait, so is it
I
the
like
quiz
that.
on Thursday or Friday if we get a 26 or 20?
Have I talked about that yet?
No.
Right, that's why I stopped asking good questions. So now, those are the questions you have. If you scroll down from there, this is the part y'all seem to be freaking out about. There's more information down below that if you go scrolly bits. Here's the part where if it confuses you, ignore it. So if you start getting to the I'm confused, my answer is going to be ignore this part and just do the homework. But I'll give you a quick explanation bits. This connects to the quiz you take on Friday called the Shadow Club Quiz that goes to the Shadow Club questions. To help you with that one, there's going to be 9 questions from the quiz in the homework. So I figured to help you, I went ahead and went through and pulled out 9 of the questions on the quiz. It's a 15-question quiz, but I put 9 of them on the homework for you to help you out ahead of time. If you do the homework early and you have it submitted by 8 a.m. on Friday before you take the quiz, you get extra B points. So you get 3 B points just for submitting it early. If you also do all 12 questions, you also get extra credit on top of the extra B points. But to make it more fun for me, if you do well on the quiz, meaning you get a 26 or higher, which I think is the 26, is it 26 or 25? 26. 26 or higher, which is like means you can miss 1 question on there, then you don't have to do the homework. You just submit a screenshot of you getting the 26 or higher. But here's where it becomes fun for me. The best way for you to get a 26 or higher is by doing the homework, because I give you the questions in the homework. But then if you do the homework, then you don't get to test out of it because you already did it. This is called me being a malicious, evil teacher. I'm giving you a way to get out of the homework, but the only way to get out of the homework is by doing the homework and knowing what the questions are. So while you just sit there and get confused, my answer is going to be,
Do the homework.
just do the homework.
No.
See,
Or
I'm not
sing at me.
confused because
Chezzy.
brain cells.
Is it open now?
Yeah, all my notes.
So I could just take screenshots of all my answers on the homework.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's fine thing. If you do the homework ahead of time, more power to you. That's fine thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So are these like, obviously the questions, but like,
obviously.
is there like a full-on correct answer to these?
Uh-huh.
Or are these like opinions?
Well, what it'll be is those questions on the homework are not word for word from it. They're covering the same idea. So if you answer the homework question, you should be able to know what's going to be on the quiz. So like the one on there that says, give me an example of irony, the one on the quiz is an actual example of irony. But if you went through there and know what irony is and know what happens in the book, you should be able to figure out my irony question on the quiz.
Okay.
Does that make more sense? All right. It was called an experiment. If this fails epically, I won't do it again. If it works well, I'll try it again.
No.
But this was coming with conversations from kids, and they were like, I want to do better on the quizzes. And I was like, well, how about if I give you the questions ahead of time? And they're like, ooh. And I was like, well, if I give you the questions ahead of time, and then you turn it in ahead of time, I'll give you B points. But at the same time, if you prove to me that you actually paid attention, then you should also be able to get out of the homework. So I figure we'll give it a try and sort of see what happens. So that's my experimenting thing. We'll sort of see how it works. On that, we're good. I'm looking forward to seeing how my experiment works. If it's an epic failure, or maybe an epic win. All right. Now you can put iPads away. We're done with that bit. I just wanted you to be able to get a chance to see it.
What does this do again?
It's new time. Tonight at midnight.
What is it? It's cat.
I would never lie to a smart
Let's
man.
do on Monday.
Wait, that's cat. I'm not smart.
Then I probably lied to you.
What? Alright, so when is it?
Do Monday.
Monday. I don't do the homework today, and we get tomorrow. Then
There's no. The quiz tomorrow is your 7th grade English assessment that everyone has to take. There's no connection to anything. I know, right? Reading and paying attention are the bestest.
Is that a word?
It is now, because I'm the bestest teacher.
I got a word.
Go you.
That's a lie. That's a lie. You lied to me again.
Welcome.
He keeps lying.
He's a liar.
No, I never liked smart kids.
Stop the cat.
Oh, that's another one.
No, I never liked smart kids. Because smart kids know what I'm saying.
No, they don't.
Now,
Like me.
the other kids. Anyway, back to here. So
Wait, you lie to Jaylee all the time then, right?
what's that kid talking out loud?
Me?
Okay. So from there we get back to Stonehenge. We covered that one, and then another example of Stonehenge, and then from there, I think. And then who is it they find creeping on them in the woods?
Tyson the football.
What really disgusting thing does Randall do to him while they're in jail?
Spit in his face.
Which is awful. And then I think they just we got farther with you guys. We got to him. Austin goes all creepy mode. And then where does Austin go during creepy mode?
Jared did. Not
I
Austin.
say Austin. You're right.
Austin big room.
Jared goes creepy mode, and where does Jared go? And then what does he discover Tyson has?
We don't know yet.
No, we do know. That's where the marionettes are. Now, we don't know what he discovers that he's going to use to try and keep Tyson quiet. That we don't know. We know the marionettes exist, and he says that's not enough, and there's some other thing that's going to occur. And what do you call it when you're going to use information to try and keep someone quiet? And that's the whole not making good choices. Like, having your iPad out after the teacher said to put the iPad away, then having to lose points and stuff like that. And who would do horrible things? Lachlan, what's up?
So, does anyone else get reminded of these puppets in the Polar Express? Like,
Yeah, I can see that.
That's what
reminds me of that scene.
Is that you, Lachlan?
Yeah. Why the Polar Express?
James.
No, that was me.
You're James.
I'm James.
Some things in the book? Have I spoiled like things in the book for classes? I did it with my advanced class yesterday on accident. I went to the wrong picture and it showed a thing happening in the store and they're like, what? And I clicked like, I had to go back real quick. And so
You should do that for us.
I was like, ignore that, ignore that. So, anyway,
Spoil it all.
we are on page 101. If you're a home child doing this, I don't think we got to page 101 with you guys. We only got to, like way back on page 96 if you're watching the home version.
We're on 101.
So you're going to have to read 5 pages on your own or be confused because there's a whole thing that Jared does. We're going to jump to 101. Different classes got to different speeds. All right. So for you guys, 101, we now have Jared knowing what's going on, and he's going to go try and make even more poor word choices. Leave it on that screen. All right?
It's about tries. How we record your advanced class every day.
I have 2 of them, so I go back. Let's see. So off I marched into the building and waited by my locker for a sign. Oh, so this is him going into school the next day. All right. Get out of my face, said Tyson. I was standing right next to him as he opened his locker. The second the door opened, I pushed it shut. That's no way to talk, Tyson. All right, said Tyson. Get out of my face, moron. I'm not in your face. I'm standing next to you. Do you have problems judging distance? Is that it? Just leave me alone. Tyson opened his locker and put his books in. I just wanted to tell you something, Tyson. Yeah? Like what? I just wanted to say that I like the puppets on your wall. Tyson sniffed. That's creepy, by the way.
Yep.
When you just walk up to someone in the hallway and you're like, I know, it's on your bedroom wall. Good job, Jared. Way to be creepy. No, sorry. Tyson snapped his head to me. That crazy look in his eyes became fuller. What do you know about it? I saw them. I looked through your window one night, and I saw them. You're lying. Why would I lie, Tyson? Besides, how else would I know about them? Tyson said nothing. He just stared at me. Is that what you do all the time? Make puppets? Is that all you do? Look in people's windows? Anyways, none of your business. And you better not look in my window anymore. Why not? You have something to hide, Tyson? You just better not, that's all. You spied on us, so I just spied back on you. There's also something else I know about you, Tyson. What? Staring straight at him, I said, I know that you're a bedwetter. Suddenly, that crazy look in his eyes became even more frightening than I thought it could. It was as if Tyson's eyes were a window to some dark, horrible place that only he knew about. It was like his eyes could have turned me to stone. "That's a lie," he snarled, like a caged animal would snarl. "I saw, Tyson. I watched you change your sheets. I saw the stains on them. I saw the rubber sheet. I know all about you, Tyson." "It's not true," he growled. I didn't say anything. "I hate you." Then softer, "You better not tell anyone, because if you do..." "Quiet! All right, I'll make a deal with you. If you don't tell anyone about the Shadow Club, I won't tell anyone about your rubber sheets. Is it a deal? Come on. Is it?" Tyson stared at me, unable to speak. His frightening, empty eyes got deeper. Then suddenly, it was like the bottom dropped out of his mind. He bared his teeth, snarled, and then lunged at me, grabbing my hair and my throat, fighting like no normal kid fights. In a second, dozens of kids were all around, watching, most laughing at Tyson like they always laughed. "I'll kill you if you tell! Kill you, kill you, kill you, kill you, kill you!" I pushed him away, but he came right back at me. Maybe I should have been punching him back. I don't know. I guess I felt it was unfair to hit him. So I just kept pushing him off of me, and he kept lunging with tears in those wolf eyes. Finally, Vice Principal Green came running down the hall, grabbed Tyson, shaking him and talking to him as if he were trying to shake someone out of a bad nightmare. Eventually, Tyson snapped back into sanity. "What is this all about?" Mr. Green asked me. I shrugged. "Nothing. He just came at me. I think I must have bumped into his locker." Mr. Green believed me because I was always such a good kid who never caused anyone any problems. Yeah. It scared me to think what I could get away with if I really wanted to. It scared me and bothered me to think of how I was toying with poor Tyson's head. So I tried not to think about it. All right, Tyson, why don't you tell me why you went after him?" Tyson just looked at him, then at me, with his jaw open as if he would spill out the whole story. Then finally, he looked down. "He bumped into my locker." "Fine, let's have a talk in my office, Tyson," said Mr. Green. He looked at the crowd in the hallway. "Didn't I just hear the homeroom bell? Don't you all have somewhere to go?" The crowd began to break up, and Green walked with Tyson down the hall. Tyson turned back to look at me, both of us realizing that I had him over a barrel, and there was nothing he could do about it. I winked at him, and he threw back at me that stone-turning gaze of his. I guess in some ways I had turned to stone, but it wasn't by Tyson, it was by the Shadow Club. Chapter, The Best of Friends, page 106. As usual, most of us pretended not to know each other at school that week. I mean, sure, Cheryl and I hung around together, but as far as the rest of the club went, well, we just winked at each other in the halls. The secrecy of our friendships made the meetings at Stonehenge very special. By next Friday's meeting, however, I was feeling awfully strange about things. Tyson hadn't spilled the beans to anyone, as far as I knew, and none of us had gotten caught for any of the practical jokes we'd played. But still, something didn't sit quite right. Maybe it was the feeling I'd gotten when I told Tyson I knew he was a bedwetter. Maybe it was the fact that I had to spy on him like a peeping Tom. Or maybe it was the fact that Tyson had called us a gang. Whatever it was, I took the feeling to the meeting with me and I couldn't shake it. I held my hands close to the fire. It seemed that for the past few meetings, nothing I could do would keep my hands warm. "You know," said Darren, "I never thought this thing would work. I mean, I never thought we'd all actually, like each other." "Yeah, I'll say," said Abby. "Look at this group. We've got a jock, a brain, a nerd, a soch, a brat, a lawyer, and the gopher. Who'd have thought we'd all get along?" I smiled, but down inside, I cringed. The kids in the Shadow Club were the only ones in school left who didn't call me the Gopher. Quick pause.
No, it does. That's illegal.
I smiled, but down inside,
There you
I
go.
cringed. The kids in the Shadow Club were the only ones in school left who didn't call me the Gopher. I'm not a jock, said Darren. And I'm not a nerd, said Jason. Yeah, but you know what I mean, said Abby. I knew what she meant. Except for Randall, Cheryl, and me, none of us had really known each other before the club. I guess when you have something in common, said OP, it's easy to be friends. Oh yeah, sure. We really had a lot in common, I thought. We all hate somebody. OP turned to me. What? We hate somebody? That's all we have in common. It's a little bit sick, huh? Nah, said Darren. It's like the war. Common enemies bring people close, you know? But we're not at war. Yeah, we are, said Jason. We're fighting for our right not to be humiliated by the unbeatables. I say we nuke them, said Randall. And I say that's not funny. I wondered which was worse, wanting to nuke somebody or wishing someone was never born. There were 7 of us, all wishing that 7 other people in the world had never been brought into it. That's the kind of hatred you read about in war books, the kind of hate that kills millions of people. Everyone around the circle looked at me as if I'd cussed Randall out. I think you're taking this all too seriously, Jared, said Cheryl. It's just for fun. I think he's feeling guilty, said Abby. What for? Our jokes didn't hurt anybody, did they? I mean, sure, a spider got killed, but I kill spiders every day. You see me crying about it? All right, you had a good point. But it didn't make me feel any better. I took my hands away from the fire. Almost immediately, they began to get cold again. But when I put my hands down, Cheryl grabbed one of them and held it gently out of everyone's view. That's when I began to feel a bit better about everything. I think I know what it is, said OP. I think he's worried about Tyson talking. No, that's not it, I said and took a deep breath. You want out of the club? Is that it? Asked Darren. No, of course not. I like the club. No, I love the club. But what? Said Darren. Get to the point. Maybe we should stop the tricks? Cheryl turned to me. Jared, our charter is based on revenge. Yeah, said Randall. The tricks were your idea. Don't wimp out on us, Jared. Yeah, Jared, echoed Jason. Hasn't it been great fun so far? Asked Abby. I thought about it. Okay. It had been great fun. And didn't everyone deserve what they got? Asked OP. She was right. They all deserved what they got. And don't you enjoy being president of the club? Asked Cheryl. She hooked me with that one, and that's when any guilt or doubt I had inside switched off completely. Until that moment, I never thought of myself as president. But as I looked around the fire, I saw that everyone was looking at me. Not just looking at me, but looking up to me. Me, the generic kid who never stood out in a crowd and whose face nobody could remember. What an idiot I'd been. Here I was, the leader of this club, and I was on the verge of throwing it all away. I wasn't about to do that. Maybe we need a slight change of club policy, said Cheryl. I knew what she meant. I picked right up on it. Keep my voice firm, no more wishy-washiness. If I was the president, then I was going to tell them how the club was going to work. All right, I said in my power voice. If we're going to keep this club from falling apart, or even worse, from getting caught, we have to stop the tricks for a while. Randall and a few of the others whined. Quiet! I'm not finished. I couldn't believe how quickly they all stopped whining. I held back a smile. We were in charge, both Cheryl and I. We had power, and my voice didn't crack once. We have to stop the tricks, and only pull them once in a while, when we really feel somebody deserves it. That way, we can give them exactly what they deserve, when they deserve it, and we'll never get caught. That's our new policy. Right, Cheryl? Right. Cheryl smiled and held my hand a bit tighter. Everyone looked at each other for a few moments. Then Abby said, yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. And everyone agreed, even Darren. Well, what do we do in the meantime? Eat more marshmallows? Cheryl tossed in the bag. Okay, said Darren, and he did just that. After that, everything lightened up. Cheryl and I were in charge. Everyone knew it, and everyone accepted it. For the rest of the afternoon, we talked about everything from the fires at school to whether or not anything Ralphie Sherman ever said in his whole life was true. It was great. For as Cheryl said, sometime during that afternoon, we were a bunch of kids, not a gang, having fun without doing anything wrong. Or at least, we weren't doing anything wrong at that moment. We were good kids with good grades from good homes. Everything about us was good, and there was nothing to feel bad about. Nothing at all. Was there? When the meeting broke up, as usual, I put out the fire. Strangely enough, putting out the fire and leaving Stonehenge had become my favorite part of the meetings. I don't know why. No, actually, I sort of did know why. Today, Randall had gone off with everyone else, leaving Cheryl and me alone. Cheryl always waited for me. I kind of like that. You had me scared for a while, she said as I doused the fire. I thought you were going to say something that would break up the club. I wouldn't do that, I said, smiling. It's too much fun. Sure is. I took her hand as we left Stonehenge. So what was bothering you before? I guess I started to feel bad about things. Never feel sorry for the enemy. Does Austin feel bad every time he calls you the gopher? No, I'm not talking about Austin. I feel sorry for Tyson. The slime ball? Why? All he ever does is say nasty things to people and fight. I don't feel sorry for him, and I don't trust him. We'll be lucky if the creep doesn't snitch on us. Yeah, he won't snitch on us. How can you be sure? Because I am. Then Cheryl stopped walking, and a wide smile appeared on her face. You did something, didn't you? You found a way to keep his mouth shut. You could say that. What did you do? I found out a secret, that's all. Cheryl's ears seemed to pop up like a rabbit's. A secret? You know a secret about Tyson McGaw? Tell me. I have to know. No, I can't. Why not? I won't tell anyone. I have a deal with Tyson. I won't tell if he doesn't. Yeah, but I don't count, though. A deal's a deal. Who's gonna know? I will. So Tyson's a better friend than I am. No. Forget it. I said it. I don't want to talk about Tyson anymore. Cheryl could see she was not going to get anywhere. She sighed. Fine. Be that way. I guess we better be going back. I didn't feel like going back, though. It was warm for October. It was just getting toward my favorite time of day. Wait a second. The road's that way, said Cheryl, pointing. No, it's not. It's this way. I knew I was walking in the wrong direction, but I wanted to see if Cheryl would follow. She did. I ran in front of her. Jared, I think there's a cliff that way. Be careful. Come on. I slowed down as I heard the crash of waves somewhere far below. I could see the horizon through the trees, and soon I came out onto a grassy cliff above the ocean. Cheryl found me a moment later. See, I was right, you bozo. I have a good sense of direction. You should have listened to me. I know, I said, with a silly smile on my face. Come on, we'll be late. I know, I said with that same smile. She looked at me, not quite sure what to make of it. You're nuts, you know that? I know, I said, and she laughed. Although I'd come to Stonehenge in the worst of moods, I was in a good mood now. I wanted that good mood to last. I was with my best friend and was having a great time. If my parents scream at me for missing supper, I'm blaming you. I smiled at that. She smiled back. We sat down together close to the edge of the cliff, but not close enough to fall. We really are presidents of the club, aren't we? Yeah, we are. There's so much power in that. You know, being in charge of a club. I mean, 5 other kids letting us make decisions. Isn't it fun? She squeezed my hand tightly. Don't make it any more awkward than it has to be. I think I like that the most. Even more than I liked getting back at Austin, I like the power. It's like being king of a very small country. I think I'll run for class president this year. Cheryl laughed. Why are you laughing at me? No, I'm not laughing at you. I just think it'll be funny because you're going to be running against me. You're going to run for class president? Yeah, sure, why not? Don't you think I'd be a good president?
No.
And I smiled. Yeah, I do. Maybe we could run together. We're a team, right? She looked at me, and we both looked out over the ocean, sort of afraid to look at each other for too long. The last time we got to talk alone like this was when we were up in the treehouse, talking about how much we hate Austin and Rebecca. I don't want to talk about them. Good. Then let's talk about Tyson's secret. I don't want to talk about that either. Then what do you want to talk about? Nothing, I guess. I smiled. She smiled, and then for no particular reason, I leaned over and kissed her on the cheek. She instantly looked away from me. I felt so stupid. I mean, here she was, my best friend, and I kissed her. How stupid could I get? My face turned as red as the sunset. I was going to say, I'm sorry, but didn't have the guts to say much of anything at all. Then I stopped reading. If it helps, there's a little awkward bit, and then you're going to get to one of the most exciting parts of the book right after that.
Make out.
No, it has nothing to do with making out, you creepy little children. It's the part I kept telling you about where all of a sudden things go bad.
Oh, they kill each other!
We're getting to the bad part.
He pushed them off the cliff!
Have fun, my creepy children.